Wilhelm Reich made a radical claim that still unsettles people today. He argued that healthy sexuality is quiet. It does not dominate the personality. It does not require constant stimulation, does not obsess, intrude, or escalate. Healthy sexuality flows naturally, resolves naturally, and leaves the organism calm, grounded, and emotionally present. Sexual obsession, by contrast, is noisy. It demands attention, it hijacks thought, it repeats compulsively, and most importantly, it never satisfies. Reich was very clear about this. When natural sexual energy is blocked, distorted sexuality emerges in its place. The sexually frozen fossil is not oversexed. He is underfelt. His sexual development was interrupted, often early in life, by forces such as sexual shaming, moralistic repression, authoritarian parenting, religious condemnation of pleasure, fear of the body, fear of vulnerability, and rigid ideas of masculinity or purity. Reich taught that repression does not destroy sexual energy, it immobilizes it. The energy becomes frozen in the body, especially in the pelvis, the abdomen, the chest, the jaw, and the eyes. The result is a person who is chronically aroused and chronically unsatisfied. Sexual obsession is not about pleasure, it is about discharge without surrender. The armored individual cannot tolerate genuine intimacy because intimacy requires feeling, exposure, softness, emotional presence, and the risk of being seen. So sexual energy seeks safer outlets. Pornography, voyeurism, compulsive fantasy, moral crusades against sexuality, obsessive focus on others' sexual behavior, sexualized aggression. These outlets stimulate without opening. They arouse without dissolving the armor. Reich would say the individual is trying to release energy while keeping control, and that never works. At the core of sexual obsession is not desire. It is fear of losing control, fear of emotional exposure, fear of dependency, fear of tenderness, fear of being overwhelmed by feeling. Sexual obsession allows the person to stay activated while remaining defended. Reich described this as playing with fire while refusing warmth. Here is the paradox. Reich identified, and it remains true today. The people most obsessed with sex are often the least sexually fulfilled. They talk about sex constantly. They police it. They moralize it. They condemn it. They weaponize it. Yet they themselves are emotionally frozen. This is why sexually frozen individuals are often drawn to sex scandals, purity campaigns, anti-sexual politics, public shaming, humiliation of others, pornographic excess paired with moral outrage. The obsession distracts from the emptiness underneath. Reich called this condition orgastic impotence. It does not mean the inability to have sex. It means the inability to fully surrender, physically and emotionally, to orgasmic relief. In the sexually frozen individual, arousal rises. Anxiety arises with it. Muscles tighten, Control mechanisms engage. Emotional release is blocked. The experience ends, but without resolution. The body remains tense, charged, restless. Sexual obsession is the mind's attempt to manage this chronic state. Healthy sexuality involves mutuality, trust, presence, vulnerability, connection. The sexually frozen fossil experiences these as threats. So obsession substitutes quantity for quality, fantasy for contact, control for intimacy, power for connection, stimulation for feeling. This is why obsession often intensifies with age. The armor hardens, the hunger grows louder. Reich warned that sexually repressed populations are easily mobilized through fear. When sexual energy cannot flow naturally, it becomes available for authoritarian submission, moral panics, sexual scapegoating, rigid gender roles, aggression toward deviance. The sexually frozen fossil often projects his inner conflict outward, seeing sexual danger everywhere except within himself. Why obsession is so defended? Sexual obsession is fiercely defended because it is protective. If the obsession collapsed, the individual would be flooded with grief, shame, loneliness, fear, unmet longing. The armor exists to prevent this collapse. That is why shaming sexual obsession only strengthens it. Reich was explicit. Moralism reinforces armor. What healing would actually require. From a Reichian perspective, healing sexual obsession would require softening muscular armor, restoring natural breathing, releasing chronic tension, allowing emotional expression, reconnecting sensation with feeling, developing tolerance for vulnerability. This is slow, threatening work, which is why many prefer obsession to freedom. Sexual obsession is not a sign of excess vitality. It is a sign of blocked life force. The sexually frozen fossil is not too sexual. He is too frightened to feel. Reich believed that a sexually healthy person is not obsessed with sex, just as a healthy person is not obsessed with breathing. Obsession is something that, through Reichian analysis, can be dealt with in a positive way.